Your mind is trying to destroy you. Right now, as you're listening to this, there's a voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough, that you'll probably fail, that things won't work out. And here's the scary part, you believe it. You've been believing it for years. That negative voice has become so familiar that you think it's just who you are. But it's not. It's a habit, a dangerous, life-stealing habit that's robbing you of everything you deserve. Today I want to show you how to kill that voice before it kills your dreams. What I'm about to share could change your entire life. I used to wake up every morning with dread. Before my eyes even opened, my brain would start its attack. You're behind. You're not doing enough. People are judging you. Something bad is going to happen. It was exhausting, like living with an enemy inside my own skull, and I thought everyone felt this way. I thought constant worry and self-criticism were just part of being human, normal, unavoidable. But I was wrong. The truth hit me when I started studying how successful people actually think, not what they say in interviews, but how their minds really operate. And I discovered something that changed everything. They don't have fewer problems than the rest of us. They don't have easier lives. They just have a completely different relationship with their own thoughts. That's the realization I want to share with you. Negative thinking isn't something that happens to you. It's something you do. It's a pattern, a loop. And like any pattern, it can be broken. It can be replaced with something better. Let me show you exactly how to do it. Because your mind should be your greatest ally, not your worst enemy. Let me ask you something. If someone followed you around all day saying the things you say to yourself, how long would you tolerate it? Think about it. Really think about it. You're such an idiot. Why did you say that? Everyone thinks you're stupid now. You're going to mess this up like you mess everything up. You don't deserve good things. Who do you think you are? If another person spoke to you like that, you'd cut them out of your life immediately. You'd call it abuse. You'd walk away and never look back. But when your own mind says these things, you just accept it. You nod along. You agree. That's insane when you think about it. Absolutely insane. Some of you probably don't even realize how negative your thinking has become. It's like a fish not knowing it's in water. You've been swimming in negativity so long that it just feels like reality. It feels like truth. But I know how this feels because I've been there. I spent years convinced that my negative thoughts were just me being realistic. I called it being practical, being prepared for the worst, not getting my hopes up. But you know what it really was? It was self-sabotage dressed up as wisdom. Here's what happens when negative thinking takes over. First, it affects your mood. Obviously, you feel anxious, depressed, irritable. Life loses its color. Even good moments get filtered through a grey lens. Something wonderful happens and your brain immediately says, yeah, but it won't last. Second, it affects your behavior. Negative thinking makes you avoid things. You don't apply for the job because you assume you won't get it. You don't ask the person out because you assume they'll say no. You don't start the project because you assume you'll fail. Your negative thoughts become a prison and you become both the prisoner and the guard. Third, it affects your relationships. Nobody wants to be around constant negativity. It's draining, it's exhausting. So people start pulling away and then your negative brain says, see, I told you people don't like you. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Fourth, and this is the scary one, it affects your physical health. Studies show that chronic negative thinking increases stress hormones, weakens your immune system, and can even shorten your lifespan. Your thoughts aren't just in your head, they're in your body, they're in your cells. Let me give you an example. I knew a man once who was brilliant, genuinely talented, but his internal monologue was brutal. He criticized every single thing he did. Nothing was ever good enough. He'd accomplish something impressive and immediately start picking it apart, finding every flaw, dismissing any praise. And you know what happened? He achieved far less than he was capable of, not because he lacked ability, because he lacked the internal support to push through challenges. Every setback confirmed his negative beliefs. Every difficulty became evidence that he wasn't good enough. He'd start things and quit, start and quit, start and quit. His enemy wasn't the world, it was the voice inside his own head. Now here's the thing that really gets me. We wouldn't let someone else talk to our children this way. We wouldn't let someone talk to our friends this way. But we let ourselves be verbally abused by our own minds every single day. Why? Why do we accept this? Because nobody taught us any different. Because we think thoughts just happen and we have no control. Because we believe the voice is telling us the truth. But it's not. And we do have control. And there is a different way. Here's where everything changes. Your thoughts are not facts. Let me say that again because it might be the most important thing you hear today. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just thoughts. They're mental events. They're patterns of electrical activity in your brain. They're not truth. They're not reality. They're just noise when your brain says you're not good enough. That's not a statement of objective reality. That's just a thought. When your brain says this won't work out, that's not a prophecy. That's just a thought. When your brain says people are judging you, that's not journalism. That's just a thought. The aha moment for me was realizing that I don't have to believe everything I think. I can observe a thought, acknowledge it exists, and then say, thanks for your input, but I'm going to do this anyway. It's like having an annoying backseat driver. They keep commenting on your driving, telling you you're going the wrong way, predicting accidents. You can hear them. You can acknowledge they're speaking, but you don't have to hand them the steering wheel. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what if the negative thoughts are true? What if I really am not good enough? Listen. Even if there's some truth to a negative thought, the way we express it to ourselves is almost always distorted. There's a difference between, oh, I need to improve my skills in this area, and a complete failure who will never succeed. One is constructive feedback. The other is abuse. Your negative brain doesn't give you constructive feedback. It gives you harsh, absolute, catastrophic judgments. It speaks in words like always and never and everyone and no one. That's how you know it's lying. Reality is nuanced. Your negative thoughts are not. Here's what I've observed in decades of studying human behavior. The most confident people aren't the ones with the fewest negative thoughts. They're the ones who've learned to manage them. They hear the same inner critic. They just don't let it run the show. I had to learn this the hard way. For years, I thought the goal was to eliminate negative thoughts entirely. To think positive all the time. To never feel doubt or fear or insecurity. And every time a negative thought showed up, I'd feel like a failure, like I was doing it wrong. But that's not how it works. You can't control what thoughts show up. That's automatic. What you can control is what you do with them. Do you engage with them, feed them, let them spiral? Or do you notice them, acknowledge them, and refocus your attention on something more useful? That's the mindset shift. You're not trying to have a perfect mind. You're trying to have a managed mind. Let me share something that really helped me understand this. I was at a conference and someone asked a very successful person how they dealt with self-doubt. And their answer surprised me. They said, I feel self-doubt almost every day, but I've learned to treat it like weather. I notice it's raining in my brain today. Okay, I'm still going to do what I need to do. I'll just bring an umbrella. That image stuck with me. Your negative thoughts are weather. Sometimes it's stormy. Sometimes it's calm. You don't control the weather, but you don't cancel your life because of clouds either. The shift isn't from negative to positive. It's from believing to observing, from reacting to responding, from victim to manager. All right, let's get into what you can actually do. Because understanding is great, but action is what changes your life. First, start catching your negative thoughts. You can't change something you're not aware of. Most negative thinking happens on autopilot. It's so fast, so habitual, that you don't even notice it. So your first job is to become a detective. Start paying attention to what your mind is actually saying. For 1 week, carry a small notebook or use your phone. Every time you notice a negative thought, write it down. Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Just record it. You're gathering evidence. You're seeing the pattern. What most people discover is shocking. They had no idea how negative their internal dialogue really was. Seeing it written down in black and white is confronting. But it's also empowering because now you can see what you're dealing with. Second, learn to challenge your thoughts. Once you catch a negative thought, don't just accept it. Question it. Put it on trial. Ask yourself, is this actually true? What's the evidence for this? What's the evidence against it? Am I being objective or emotional? Would I say this to a friend in the same situation? For instance, let's say your brain says, I'm terrible at public speaking. Challenge it. Is that true? Have you always been terrible? Have there been times you did okay? Are you comparing yourself to professional speakers or to realistic standards? What would you tell a friend who said this about themselves? Usually when you actually examine negative thoughts, they fall apart. They're based on feelings, not facts. They're exaggerations and distortions, not accurate assessments. Third, replace the thought with something better. Now look, I'm not talking about toxic positivity here. I'm not telling you to think, I'm the greatest speaker who ever lived. That's not believable and your brain will reject it. Instead, replace with something balanced and realistic. Instead of I'm terrible at public speaking, try I'm still developing my public speaking skills. I've improved before and I can improve again. Instead of everyone will judge me, try some people might judge me, but most are focused on themselves. And the opinions that really matter are from people who know me, see the difference. You're not lying to yourself. You're just being fair to yourself. You're being as kind to yourself as you'd be to a friend. Fourth, interrupt the spiral. Negative thoughts love company. One shows up and invites all its friends. You think, I made a mistake at work, and suddenly you're thinking, I'm going to get fired. I'll never find another job. I'll lose everything. My life is falling apart. That's a spiral, and you need to interrupt it before it picks up momentum. One technique I love is simply saying, stop, out loud if you need to. It sounds silly, but it works. You're taking control back. You're being the manager of your mind instead of the victim of it. Another technique is to get physical. Negative spirals live in your head. Getting into your body breaks the pattern. Go for a walk, do jumping jacks, splash cold water on your face, anything to shift your state. Fifth, build a positive mental habit. Your brain has grooves, neural pathways. The more you think a certain way, the easier that thought pattern becomes. Negative thinkers have deep negative grooves. The thoughts slide right in automatically. But here's the good news, you can build new grooves. Every time you think a more balanced thought, you're creating a new pathway. Every time you catch and challenge a negative thought, you're weakening the old pattern and strengthening a new one. This takes time, we're talking weeks and months, not days, but it works. It absolutely works. I've seen people transform their internal dialogue completely. People who used to be dominated by negativity now have minds that support them instead of attack them. Sixth, watch your input. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant grows. If you're constantly consuming negative news, negative social media, negative conversations, what do you think your brain is going to produce? I'm not saying bury your head in the sand, but be intentional. Limit your exposure to things that feed negativity. Increase your exposure to things that feed hope and possibility. Your input affects your output. Garbage in, garbage out. And here's what to avoid. Don't try to suppress negative thoughts entirely. That backfires. It's like trying not to think of a pink elephant. What are you thinking about right now? Exactly. Instead of suppression, aim for acknowledgement and redirection. I notice I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough. Interesting. Now, what am I going to focus on instead? Okay? Let me be straight with you. This is not easy. If killing negative thinking were easy, everyone would have done it by now. We'd all be walking around with peaceful, supportive minds. But we're not. Because this stuff takes real work. Your negative thought patterns have been building for years, maybe decades. They're reinforced by past experiences, by old wounds, by messages you received as a child. You're not going to undo all of that overnight. So here's what you need to expect. You're going to catch yourself mid-spiral and think, I'm doing it again. You're going to have days where the negative voice is loud and relentless. You're going to feel like you're not making progress when you actually are. That's all normal. That's all part of the process. The key is persistence, not perfection, persistence. You don't need to win every battle. You just need to keep showing up. I want to share something that really stuck with me. I heard about a woman who struggled with crippling negative self-talk for most of her adult life. Constant anxiety, constant self-criticism. She tried therapy, medication, everything. Nothing seemed to work. Then she started practicing what I've been describing, catching thoughts, challenging them, replacing them, building new habits. And for months, she felt like nothing was changing. The negative voice was still there, still loud, still convincing, but she kept going. Then one day, something shifted. A negative thought showed up, and instead of believing it automatically, she laughed at it. She actually laughed. She thought, oh, there's that old story again. And she moved on. It wasn't that the thoughts stopped. It was that they stopped controlling her. They lost their power. They became background noise instead of the main event. That's what I want for you. Not a silent mind, a free mind. And here's something important. Be gentle with yourself in this process. You've been harsh with yourself long enough. The goal isn't to beat yourself up for thinking negatively. That's just more negativity. The goal is to patiently, kindly, persistently teach yourself a new way. Treat yourself like you're training a puppy. When a puppy makes a mess, you don't scream at it and call it worthless. You gently redirect it. You praise it when it gets things right. You accept that learning takes time. Be that kind to yourself. You deserve that. So where does this leave us? Here's the truth. The battle for your life is fought in your mind every single day, every moment, really. And right now, for too many of you, you're losing that battle. The negative voice is winning. It's stealing your peace, your confidence, your potential. But it doesn't have to be that way. You have more power over your thoughts than you've ever been told. You can catch them, challenge them. Replace them. You can build new patterns that support you instead of sabotage you. You can take back control of the space between your ears. I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up tomorrow and instead of that familiar dread, you feel something different. Hope, possibility, a quiet confidence that you can handle whatever comes your way. Imagine going through your day without the constant critic, without the running commentary of everything you're doing wrong. Imagine making decisions based on what you actually want instead of what you're afraid of. Imagine looking in the mirror and thinking, I'm doing okay, I'm growing, I'm enough. That's not fantasy. That's what's possible when you learn to manage your mind. So here's my challenge to you today, not tomorrow. Start noticing, start catching those negative thoughts. Write them down if you can. See them for what they are, patterns, habits, lies dressed up as truth. And every time you catch one, every single time, say to yourself, this is just a thought. I don't have to believe it. That's it. That's where it starts. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your greatest enemy. The difference isn't talent, it isn't luck, it's training, it's choice, it's the decision to fight back instead of give in. Kill your negative thinking before it kills your dreams. Your future self is counting on it.